thanks a lot for coming. It's a great pleasure, actually, that so many people from all over the world, and I must say even from China and Korea, people came just to visit our symposium and, of course, visit Harro Höfliger and celebrate with Harro Höfliger the 50 years of our company. And it's great that this is possible, and because of this anniversary, we thought it's not about only celebrating, maybe sometimes content can be helpful as well. For today, actually, my great colleague Christian, who is leading the department for aseptic processing, will guide you through the day.
And my colleague Marco, who is the VP Sales in Pharma, here we will be your co-hosts today. Yeah, so you will, in the evening, dream about us, but hopefully also about the content. Yeah, we have a lot of content creators here. Yeah, so you're allowed to make pictures, post it on LinkedIn. Yeah, spread the word. Yeah, you are the multipliers. The more famous you get, the more famous we get. So.
Thanks, Christian, because he is much more active on social media than I am.
Follow me on LinkedIn.
If you will follow me, you won't learn that much.
Good. So, Marco, some housekeeping issues?
Yeah, I was just about to say it. Housekeeping. Number 1, there's a mysterious number on your badge. So I'm the number 3. These numbers will group you. And after lunch, you will have a tour guide holding up this number, and this tour guide will guide you through our factory tour and show you the different stations we've prepared where we can show and tell you something about the machines. It is a quite tough and tight tour in terms of timing, and so maybe question and answer is not that much possible, but anytime there are so many colleagues around, if you want to learn something more, just approach the next colleague. Maybe then you can have a deeper dive in that technology, what you saw in there.
Then we have the toilets. Toilets are in the factory somewhat, but there is also someone outside. And don't worry, this is not Coachella. This is Ritz-Carlton level outside, don't worry. Yeah, there is a lot to see, and follow the signs, and then they guide you outside.
Again, back to the badge. On the backside of your badge, you have a dot, and it's either red, yellow, or green. So by default, everybody will have a red dot, and this means for tonight's dinner, you will have beef. Now, if you say, I don't want beef, you can choose to green or yellow. This will mean you either get chicken or a veggie. You can still change today. The only thing you cannot do is if you got a yellow dot or a green dot, you cannot go back to beef. Difficult it is, I know, but it's about the organization. So I hope you can manage. If you want to change your meal or the dinner for tonight, please contact anyone and we make it happen for you for tonight. And that's the other one, coming back to the magic number. We have seats or tables allocated to you. And for tonight, in the Bergwerk, in the hotel where most of you stayed, there will be a table number and you find your seat on that table number, while I think the seatings are not assigned to persons. Who is not joining the evening event should return the badge to the reception, and I think that's it. Outside, drinks, coffee, all you can drink, I would say. There's no alcohol because we are here in a German shop floor, so you need to wait until tonight. I hope that's good.
We make from 9 to wine, Marco, and then
okay,
we do
perfect. That's it.
Good.
We will start.
Yeah, so housekeeping is over. We go to the content creators. We go to our first session. You see it on the agenda. It's from Stäubli Robotics, 2 great colleagues, Tobias Resch and Julien Lora. They will tell you a lot about what is the trend in having robots there, why to have robots there, and the robots can even move autonomously right now. So, Tobias, Julien, if you're ready, the stage is yours. Enjoy the speech and see you afterwards.
Danke. Hello? Okay. Thank you very much, Christian, for the nice introduction, and thank you very much for the invitation to make a speech today about robotics. My name is Tobias Resch. I'm Key Account Manager from Stäubli Robotics, and I'm together with my valued colleague.
Yeah, hi everyone. Very happy to be there. Thanks for the invitation, Herr Häufliger. So my name is Julien Lora, and I'm in charge of marketing and product management when it comes to mobile robotics from Stäubli.
Okay. Okay, we come a little bit closer to the screen. So, and the topic of today, and the topic we are speaking about today is autonomy in aseptic manufacturing, factory of the future, with the following agenda points: automation, transformation in pharma. Around pharma and robotics, a lot of things are happening. There are regulations like the Annex 1. I will speak about this, as well as Annex 1, as well as key trends in the pharmaceutical world when it comes to robots. And the second part, Julien will take over. He will speak about a factory of the future, especially when it comes to mobile robotics in the pharmaceutical world. A new topic, very interesting, big topic actually for the future. And last but not least, I will speak about robotics in biotherapy, like an outlook. What's happened already, and why is it important to use automation and robotics in biotherapy? Automation, transformation in pharma. Long years ago, we spoke about generally about open and manual processes, followed by isolated and manual processes. After that, isolated and automated processes. And in the meantime, a lot of times also about closed and automated processes. Why is it like this? We have the Annex 1, where Annex 1 has the clear requirement to reduce contamination, sources of contamination, to reduce manual interventions. The consequence is to use automation. And if you want to have automation flexible, then robots could be the right choice. There are more process restrictions. And for us as a robot supplier, these requirements lead also to the design to the robots. We need to have the right solutions for the processes when it comes to these regulations. So that's our task actually. It's also a big challenge, the robots to integrate. We are really happy that we have this close partnership with Harro Höfliger. Harro Höfliger is really strong in integrating robots, using robots on the machine platforms. And last but not least, opportunities for freeze dryers. In the Annex 1, it's called automation should be used, robots should be used to reduce the sources of contamination. FDA guidelines, the same, comes analog to the guidelines from Annex 1. We also speak about automation upgrades. On the one hand, there are greenfield projects, but on the other hand, there are also a lot of brownfield projects. Robotics is now well accepted for tasks done within the isolator. When you speak about sterile production, aseptic production, robots are used on the isolator already. But what is around the isolator? Around the isolator, there are still many manual interventions. So the task and the effort is actually to find solutions for automation around the isolator and the machines as well. This is why automation upgrades are required. For automation upgrades, you also need the right partners. Harro Höfliger is very, very good in this. On this slide, I put the key trends, what we see as a robot supplier in the field of, let's say, life science. Key trend, 1, biotherapy, personalized medicine. Modularity is required, flexibility is required. Robots can give this flexibility. For us as a robot supplier, we need to have the right solution when it comes to the robot. A robot needs to have hygienic design, but also a aseptic tool changer could be required to be flexible, to give the robot different kind of tasks. And not to forget documentation. You could use the best robot if it doesn't have a pharmaceutical documentation, validation package, when at latest the authorities will ask for this. And this is why we are Stäubli working hard to get a lot of papers together with the robots to the customers. I spoke already about Annex 1. Annex 1 also could lead to new machine designs, for example, gloveless isolators, gloveless machines. On these gloveless machines, there could be robots. If there is a robot, we also could think about telemanipulating this robot. What is telemanipulating? Telemanipulating means you take over, the human beings take over the control to use the robot within the isolator, for example, for fault intervention. This could be done outside the isolator, but in the future it also could be done, for example, in the office. Light-out manufacturing or a light-out factory, pharma factory of the future. We at Stäubli, we said we have already a lot of robots for the aseptic area, for the sterile area. But since there are coming more and more logistic tasks, why not being a pioneer for mobile robots within classified areas? And this is why Stäubli and a big pharma end customer started 2 years ago to develop a product which can move inside classified areas. The pharmaceutical world, and we actually separated a little bit and sorted a little bit segments within the pharmaceutical world, and we are looking forward to have the right solution for different kind of segments. One important segment for Stäubli is, for example, laboratory automation. The task is to have the right solution, to have the right robots for laboratory automation. API production, usually bigger robots which are handling vessels, for example. Liquid and solid and primary packaging. Probably the most important segment Stäubli is creating robots for. Liquid solid primary packaging, filling machines, aseptic use cases, sterile use cases as an example. Liquid and solid and secondary packaging. In this area, robots does not have the requirements actually which we have in primary packaging or primary production, but at least robots have to be resistant to isopropanol, or maybe should have stainless steel screws. This is why we are also participating in this area with a different kind of series of robots. Auxiliary processes, everything around the machines. As I said, for example, automation upgrades or freeze dryer loading and so on. Pack materials, robots which are used, for example, in the production of pack materials, syringe production, vials production, and so on. And biotherapy as the trend topic for robotics. Usually smaller machines, flexible. All these segments should be connected, this would be the bigger vision, with mobile robots. Many of these segments are within one pharmaceutical factory. Why not thinking about connecting these different kind of segments if it is possible? So I would like to hand over to Julien, speaking about exactly intralogistic tasks in mobile robots.
Thanks a lot, Toby. So hi everyone. What we're gonna see now is, let's start with the beginning. So let's step back a bit and look at the mega trend on the industry. So what we can say, we see clearly 3 main pillars here. So there is a clear shift in the industry paradigm, meaning that we are coming from the, let's say, assembly line, starting from the left-hand side of the slide, with the rigid manufacturing processes, and we tend to go to the flexible one, number one. Number two, a lot of things happening on the shop floor, clearly, but we try now to connect everything through data, thanks to the connection also with mobile robotics that we can generate. So that's what we call the adding digital dimension. And the number 3 is clearly we see the trend also that we used to work as a standalone production, and then we tend to connect all those kind of production islands together. That means the driver behind those mega trends are clearly 5 of them, so it's true also for all industries here. The number 1 is the labor shortage, clearly, and the aging population, so we need to address this point. The number 2 is the damage cost of moving material with manual forklift, for example. The number 3, which is very important, is the safety aspect. The more you automate, the better the safety, normally. And clearly, the 2 last one is linked to the mega trend with the flexibility and the new technology for the industry 4.0 and so on. And part of the solution is the mobile robotics. So that means here what you can see is the product portfolio from Stäubli. So we provide platform, forklift, and so-called SteriMove, which is a dedicated clean room mobile robot for the pharma industry. And to make a long story short, we are in touch, for example, for the forklift development with Mercedes-Benz from Sindelfingen here in Germany, because we need to start from the application standpoint in order to retrieve the right feature to develop the right product. And that is exactly what we have done for the SteriMove. We are in touch with Novo Nordisk for now 2.5 years to understand in the first place the application in order to retrieve the right feature for the product. That's why we came up with our SteriMove product. Looking at the value chain of the company, here it's a kind of eagle-eye perspective of the value chain. So you have the inbound, you have the inbound processes here. So we unload truck manually, but then we take over with our mobile robotics solution. So for example, forklift here, floor to floor, floor to conveyor, floor to shelves, for example. We can also transport pallet with our platform, with a kind of transfer station here. We have the warehouse. Every single company has a warehouse, so there is some solution here to automate the production and the outbound. So if we have a kind of zoom on it here, we can also address what we call the so-called cross-docking application. So we stack different pallets on the floor, and then we move forward the pallet to the final destination. But when it comes to clean room environment, there is on the top of that some special requirement, as Toby mentioned. So clearly, what is driven behind those automation in clean room environment is clearly done with the Annex 1. So we need to mitigate the risk of contamination. That's the main point. So that's why if you look in the detail in the Annex 1, there is some highlight to say we need to mitigate those risks. And that's why we try to develop a right product for that with the SteriMove in order, at the end of the day, to mitigate the risk of contamination. So that's the results, SteriMove. And just to make a long story short, the main pain point when it comes to mobile robotics inside the clean room environment is to get access to the wheel. Why? Because we need to make sure that there is no contamination at all. That's why, for a side note, we reuse our robotic shoulder of the robot arm, because we're going to speed up the development phase of the product, number 1. And number 2, we're going to convince the authorities that if this robot arm shoulder has been working over the last 20 years in isolator, it's not going to be an issue with mobile robotics in grade A, B, C, and D. So here there is a nice animation done with Harrow figure to showcase the different use case. Because again, mobile robotics is all about material flow. We need to understand the application in order to bring the right solution. So maybe I can switch to the animation directly. Yeah. So, and that's the beauty with our partnership with Harrow figure, is that they are providing great machine, and we can also extend the range of the solution by bringing around mobile robotic solution. That's the main objective here. So what you're gonna see is the first use case that we envision is, for example, the glove testing. So it's coming up for isolator. So in the past, we have done this use case with our so-called Helmo at that time. So we learned a lot from that. And then we want to transfer this know-how into our SteriMove plus robot arm on the top in order to check overnight the glove for the isolator. Number 2, the use case is what we call the environmental monitoring. So we're gonna be able to check the surface contamination with EGA plate. and also the air, so the particle emission. So that means we're gonna suck the air, analyze the particle count, and the beauty of that is not what we see, is what we do not see, meaning that all the data that we are generating is already connected to the ERP system of the customer, and we are able to track down if there is any issue, and to check with the authorities that it was okay at that time to produce. So it really brings a transparency of the production facilities. And now if you see the great machine of Harrow Flieger, so sorry, I'm not an expert to comment this video, but it's a nice machine. And we bring all around this machine some solution with mobile robotics. By the way, this rendering is made out of a real machine, which is there. I had a great opportunity to see this machine yesterday, so I encourage you to see it firsthand. And also we brought our Stäubli here, so please come over to see the product on your own. What you're gonna see also here is the robotic arm with our hollow wrist, so meaning that there is no cable anymore outside the robot arm, which is very nice when it comes to decontamination and particle emission. You're gonna see this one now, this one here, the so-called Stäubli Clean Plus hollow wrist. So hollow wrist means that there is no cable outside. And the last use case that we envision with the Stäubli is moving table. So that means we bring parts to the machine, so feeding in, feeding out the machine, and moving forward to the next station. So this one here. What I didn't mention is that what comes on the top is on the Stäubli is clearly application driven. So it could be a lift system, it could be a robot arm, it could be a conveyor, whatever you need to transport. So at the end of the day, it opens clearly new way of thinking when it comes to automation. I'm done. Just 3 main things that I would like to highlight, key takeaways. When it comes to mobile robotics, it's all about material flow. So that means number 1, you need to rethink the process. So most of the pitfall is that you try to copy-paste the manual one and to automate. It's not the right way to go. Please streamline your process first and then automate it. Number 2, don't forget to embed also and to onboard the operators. The one who's gonna live with the mobile robotics is not us. It's the one who's the shop floor. So please take this opportunity to have this ownership for the people on the shop floor. And number 3, keep it simple at the beginning in order to learn from the system. That's why we are applying with Mercedes-Benz and Novo Nordisk for the product for the first pilot use case. Thanks. Yeah.
Coming to the third chapter, Outlook Biotherapy and Personalized Medicine. As I said, also the topic biotherapy is also very important for robots. Robotics will help the scalability of production of personalized medicine with the goal of reducing cost for the patient. This is the major topic actually. About biotherapy, of course we speak about a living organism. It's very important to have the highest safety level. There might appear cross-contamination, so we have to look on this. We need products which can be used in the sense of decontamination when it comes, for example, to chemical resistance, VHP decontamination. The major target is, of course, enlarging manufacturing scale. We would like to come to industrialization. For industrialization, automation is needed. If it should be flexible, then robotics could be the right choice. And traceability. Validated processes, traceability, automation, and robotics can give advantages for this. Advanced therapy medical products. Basically, it can be classified in different types. I think Fraunhofer Institute today will speak about more in detail about this, concerning the biology behind this and the scientific view on this. If you speak about robotics, in our robotics world, we see subsegments described below. Cell and gene therapy as an example, cell culturing, mRNA messenger, plasma production, bioprinting. This could relate to areas where robots could use when it comes basically to biotherapy. Potential of robotics in adherent processes, of course, reduce failure rates is one big topic. Consistency and quality control. Efficiency and scalability, advanced monitoring and control. Traceability, another keyword. These are the advantages, but we also need to use the right robots when it comes to hygienic design, for example, when it comes to cleanability or decontamination. Here on the slide you see different applications where robots could be basically used, not a real use case, but basically it would be possible. For example, cell culturing, process management, 3D bioprinting, pipetting, tracking, filling, shaking, cleaning, all processes could be done by a robot, basically, because a robot is programmed and can be programmed flexible. Last but not least, I would like to show you a reference video representing, I would say, a robot in biotherapy. You see a very huge robot. It's our biggest one. It's placed within a clean room. Actually, it's an incubator. The robot is placed. Stäubli is also using connectors. We're producing connectors for this use case. Connectors from Stäubli are used as well. And what you see here, this robot is placed centrally in the clean room, and at 360 degrees, the robot is performing tasks of, let's say, cell culturing. So the robot regularly shakes, flips the frames where the media is inside. And it requires for the robot, because this process is going around, I think, 10 days, it requires for the robot, of course, a robustness and accuracy, as well as the hygienic design of the robot, because the robot has to be cleaned regularly. As you see here, robot is working together with a tool changer. This means he can perform different kind of stages, different kind of tasks. And it depends, of course, for the process. It's just representing, I would say, a use case in the field of biotherapy. But you see how flexible a robot can be programmed and used in this area. Just some closing words of our presentation. We spoke about automation transformation in pharma, about, let's say, regulation, about trends, about requirements for stationary robots. Julien introduced us to the factory of the future, means mobile robots. I'm pretty convinced that both stationary robots as well as mobile robots can support the major vision to bring more automation in the field of biotherapy and make it much easier for the future to bring industrialization in the pharmaceutical factory. So thank you very much for listening to us. I'm very happy to meet you at our booth and to have some chats about, let's say, robots, stationary robots as well as mobile robots. Thank you.